Hi everyone, welcome to your first online lecture, by me at least. I'm going to talk for the next maybe 10 minutes or so about the revised syllabus that we're going to be working off of for the semester and kind of explain to you how the semester is going to go. I'm proceeding as if we are going to be online for the rest of the semester. Of course, I hope that changes, but if it does not, then we're set up for either way. So let me just walk you through this. This is the new syllabus for the rest of the semester. Um, Obviously, we're not going to meet in person, but we will have a drop-in meeting. I've decided based on the responses to your surveys and kind of reading more about an equitable approach to how we do this, to not hold class synchronously, meaning you won't all have to be in the same place at the same time. Once a week, I will be having an hour of drop-in discussion. So we'll talk about the materials. You can raise, questions about the assignments, anything you want. I'll be there every Thursday starting next week on the 26th of March from 3 to 4 p.m. We'll use this Zoom link. I've also got it available to you in a bunch of other places on Canvas and whatnot. So I'm also always available to talk to you, um, you know, on the phone. I've got my number here. You can text me, you can call me, we can set up a Zoom call, or you can email me. And then I also have a virtual office, which I'll talk to you about a little bit. So I said this part already, but the yellow highlights in here indicate where something is different. So the course description, etc., is the same. So we'll scroll down to the next place where there's a change. This is on the evaluation. So I basically we've pretty much had half the semester together, but of course the assignments that come at the end of the semester are end loaded. So you can see here that the attendance and engagement that you've already done is going to be worth 10%. I haven't calculated it yet, but I'm hoping to do that and get all your grades on Canvas soon so that you have all your grades up till this point up there and you know where you're at. I'm behind on all the grading because I've been spending all my time trying to convert all my classes to online, so I'll be a little bit slower than normal in getting those back to you. Discussion board posts so far are worth 8%. The discussion leader is still worth 10%. If you did it already in person, then you're done with that. If you're going to be doing it later in the semester, I'll explain that below. I've got a plan for how you will moderate that as the sort of online discussion moderator. And then so far for the film project, you did 12% worth. Your group proposal, your annotated bib, and your treatment sheet. So anything that I haven't graded yet, I will grade and send back to you. And then we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit for this same project, but in alternate forms, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. So then from starting on Monday to May 1st, like before, everything's up to date in the Canvas schedule. I've kept the old one up there, but I made a new one, and that's the one that you should be using. So the course is basically going to be structured around these main discussions that we'll have once per week on the readings. And every week you'll get 5% of your grade is on these main discussions, and we have 5 weeks of discussions. The last week will be people presenting their projects, and then students will comment on those as well. And then every week other than the first week, because I'm going to give students a week to prepare if you're the first presenters, there'll be a student-led discussion. So, and if you're presenting, then that's going to be worth 10%. If you're not presenting, then it's going to be worth 8%, 2% per week. And then the short writing assignment, you used to have 2 in-class writing assignments. I switched it to 1. You can pick to either write a paper on the Fadiman book, which we're reading now, or on the Holmes book, which is the next one. I'll provide prompts for both of those. And then you'll turn those in right after we finish reading the book. So you'll either have a deadline in early April or late April. And then the Transnational Group Project, I'm going to ask you, not this coming week, but the next one, to submit a revised project proposal about what your group wants to do. And then at the last week of class, you'll do a project summary, peer evaluation, and your final project, which is going to look different for all of you. So the second half of the semester is worth 55%. Okay, so assignment descriptions. The first main thing, and I'm going to have I have a whole nother video available for you based on this, but the main discussion board post, the sort of heart of this class now is structured around in-depth and engaged reflective discussions. So this is the major component of the course, other than the group assignment, but it's worth more than that. And it's modeled on best practices that I found online that I've been researching and talking to folks who teach university classes online to figure out what the best approach is. So I explain this all in detail in a video, but in general, each week you'll read a few chapters from the book we're reading. On Sundays, there'll be a sort of big overarching question that I post, and I don't want you to post on the discussion before Sunday because I want the discussion to take place within the course of 1 week so that it's like lively and everybody's engaging with it and answering each other and stuff, and I explain that in the video. By Tuesday at midnight, you'll be required to respond to the original discussion board question, and then you'll be required to post on at least 3 different days so that you can't just go in and do all 6 of your posts and get it over with, but you have to be engaged in responding to people, and that's what makes it more like us being together in class, is if you're frequently dipping into it. And then you'll be required to make at least 6 substantive or quality contributions to the discussion, and here's some examples of what that might be, and I also talk about them in the other video, but you'll have the syllabus and you should read through it carefully. You obviously need to be respectful and engage in good communication practices. I talk about that on the video. And then for this class, because we often have several readings that are supposed to be spread out throughout the week, say you have like 2 chapters to read, you should have at least one of them read by the time you answer the first big question on Tuesday. If you want to, like, my strategy would probably actually be to read everything before then, because then you kind of have all the information you need. But then I'll be asking follow-up questions throughout the week on that same thread that I want you to reply to, or reply to your colleagues and stuff sometimes too. And that, so by Thursday, you should have read all the parts that you're going to read, and my follow-up questions will direct you to draw from the later chapters of the reading. And so this is kind of the heart of the discussion portion of the class. I explain it all in another video, which you'll watch after this one. Okay, so online discussion leader and moderator. So if you have not yet been the discussion leader, you're going to moderate and lead an online discussion. So what this basically is going to entail is that by Sunday night, so before Sunday, you need to meet with your class, with your group mates. I've had to switch around the groups because we have 4 discussions, so there's 3 of you per group, and I've just assigned you a week. So you might be with the people that you were with before, and some of you will not, because I've had to split up groups to get 3-person per week. So by Sunday night, you'll have talked to your group via Zoom or whatever kind of communication you want to use. And then you'll provide for me a media clip and discussion questions, and I'll put those on Canvas. So the media clip will be one short news article, video clip, photograph, or some other media for students to watch or read that in some way connects to the theme or reading of the week. So generally on the theme of transnationalism, obviously, but for example, if you're the discussion leader while we're reading The Spirit Catches You, the Fadiman book, then you can find a video clip or news story about another cultural group that's had clashes with the healthcare system, and then you can ask a question that asks students to connect those 2 things together. Or for reading the Holmes book, which is about fruit pickers from Mexico that migrate back and forth between their village in Mexico and California and Washington State, then you could ask a question about other migrant experiences of their health, for example, pick up on one of the themes in the book, and find some interesting, news clip or video or whatever it is to have the students watch. And then the second part you'll send me on Sunday is 1 to 2 good discussion questions that connects the media clip to the book that we're reading. So in the first example, you'll ask a discussion question that asks people to connect a clip about, say, like, Somalis in Minnesota, and having challenges connecting with their healthcare providers in St. Cloud or something like that. And then you'll ask a question that has students connect what they're reading in Fadiman to the clip or the newspaper article or piece of art or whatever it is that you brought in. And then students will respond to that. So you don't want questions to be too narrow, and you want to ask a sort of open question that forces them to engage with the material, but gets a really lively, excuse me, not coronavirus, don't worry, just a tickle in my throat, and should lead to thoughtful engagement and discussion among your classmates. So then during the week, so you'll do that on Sunday. On Tuesday, from Tuesday to Friday, you're going to moderate the discussion, engaging regularly every day, starting on Tuesday with your classmates' responses and questions. You should aim to post at least 5 times each day from Tuesday to Friday. These can be follow-up questions for students to answer. Oh wait, that's Tuesday so okay, let me change that to 4 posts per day, because Tuesday to Friday is for 4 days of posting. These can be follow-up questions for students to answer, responses to student posts, or questions for students based on their posts. The discussion will close at the end of the day Friday. So on Friday, you want to be sort of wrapping up the conversation, not asking new questions, but up through Thursday, you can pose new questions for students to engage with. Okay, so if you are not leading discussion, in addition to participating in the main group discussion, you're going to participate in student-led discussions by responding to the original question asked by the students on Tuesday at midnight, so same deadline as for the main discussion post. And then answer any questions directed you by other students, and your participation in these discussions is worth 8%, sorry, and that's, let me just change this here so I don't have to remake this video, 2% for each week of discussion, and that will be 4 weeks of student-led discussions, and you should participate on at least 2 different days. So you want to check back and make sure nobody's asked you any questions, and that's to help this be more engaged for the discussion leaders, that you're coming back at least 2 times. So that's how I'm going to grade you on participating in this discussion, is that you've posted you participated on at least 2 different days, and then I'll clarify how many posts you need to do in here after this, but I have to work that out, but I don't want to remake the whole video. So, okay, so then you'll write 1 short paper. It's due on the Monday after we complete the book. The deadlines are in Canvas, and I'll show those to you in a minute. I provide prompts for those papers. They're worth 5% of your grade. Okay, so for the Transnational Group Project, formerly known as Ethnographic Documentary Project, basically you're going to come up with a proposal of how you want to move forward with this. So I want you to think creatively about what the output or final product of this project is going to look like. Some of you have already sent your ideas on Canvas. Thank you for that. And this can be a combination of video and podcast. It can be like narrated PowerPoint. It can be a piece of art, really whatever you are finding compelling. One group is suggesting they're going to do a survey, so that you can do interviews and then write something up about them. So that's really going to be up to you. Well, again, the drop-in meetings, there's more information for that here. The virtual office. So there's a discussion board thread on the homepage of Canvas. And it's on your schedule as well, where basically if you have any questions, like the kinds of things you would ask at the beginning of the class, like how many sources do we need, or does it have to be an APA, or anything that you related to the logistics of the class that you might either ask in office hours or at the beginning of the class, I'll check it 1 to 2 times per day. So if you don't need something answered right away and it's not private, it's helpful to everyone to use this space to ask questions so other students can see the responses as well. Canvas, this policy hasn't changed, but I just wanted to emphasize that keeping track of what's happening on Canvas is more important than ever, because everything's happening on there. I won't have a chance to talk to you in person. And then the last thing I wanted to say about the syllabus is that if anything related to our new online teaching approach means you require different accommodations, whether they're documented or not, let me know. So if something's creating challenges for you regarding this new format, let me know and we will figure something out to make sure that it works for everybody. All right, that's video number 1. Move on to video number 2. See you later.